From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, thousands across the Bay Area are calling out the Trump administration on International Women's Day.
We're in big danger. This is openly fascistic people running the government, but this kind of thing is going on all over the country.
More on the demands and on their hopes for the future. Also, Oaklanders say they are in desperate need of leadership after the recall of Mayor Sheng Tao.
It just feels like there's a lot of hopelessness. I feel like when you step outside, there's a higher level of crime because people don't have opportunities.
We're hearing from the two frontrunners in the mayoral race and how they're hoping to turn things around. Also, coyotes in Mendocino County are changing up their diet, why scientists say they're now preying on seal pups. Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco on this Saturday evening, I'm Brian Hackney. Demonstrations happening across the world on this International Women's Day, a day to celebrate achievements by women, but now it's taken a political turn. Right now, many are coming out to take a stand against issues plaguing women. Protesters tell us they're fighting for gender equality, reproductive rights, and an end to violence against women. They showed up throughout California today, including, of course, San Francisco. And John Ramos has the story.
Normally, International Women's Day rallies focus on issues exclusive to women, but this is anything but a normal year.
Donald Trump has got to go.
As women and their supporters marched around Union Square, the issues being forwarded this year had a broader feel than usual.
Democracy now! Democracy now!
The Women's March is an annual event where women come together to protest and to protect the women's rights and to make certain that the world is aware of the issues going on in our democracy currently. And so all of that is being undermined at this time, and we want to make our voices heard.
And most of those voices were aimed squarely at President Trump, who Sarah Allen refers to derisively as 45.
And they need the vocal support of each of us to make as much noise as we can and demonstrate that 45 does not have a mandate to be a dictator.
What's happening for women in general, International Women's Day is hugely important, but in the face of all of the horrific, really hateful things that are going and destructive things that are going on, I think it's even more powerful.
There were those who came out to support women in their fight to preserve reproductive rights, including some men from a group called Project Jericho.
Women fight for women's rights!
We're all brothers, we're all sons, we're all someone that has a woman in our life. Women are dying inside parking lots because they're not able to have medical treatment. It's not right.
But for many, it wasn't so much about preserving a specific right, it was about saving a country.
Show me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like!
But not everyone was feeling hopeless. Carol Seligman feels the threat, but took solace in the size of the crowds turning out to protest.
We're in big danger. This is openly fascistic people running the government, but this kind of thing is going on all over the country. So there's a groundswell of resistance and opposition, and I'm very hopeful about that.
And ironically, it was the younger generation that was looking at past civil rights struggles to find hope for the future.
If those movements are in the past, then this movement will eventually be in the past because we keep fighting and we will get through it.
I think I have a lot of hope for the future, and all of us do. Especially with our generation, I have faith that we have a stake in the future and we care enough to make that change that we want to see.
It seems everyone wants change, but America is bitterly divided over what that should be. Half of the nation's voices belong to women, and nearly half of them voted for Donald Trump. So the fight may not be with one man, but rather with ourselves.
And from women's rights to farm workers' rights, San Francisco is honoring Helen Fabela Chavez in a special way. Her husband, of course, was labor leader Cesar Chavez. Helen fought alongside him for better working conditions, co-founding the Farm Workers Association. Born to Mexican parents who immigrated to the San Joaquin Valley in the 1920s, Helen was only 7 when she began working at a farm. Now a new early education center in the Mission District has been named for her. There's a ribbon-cutting ceremony and a mariachi to celebrate the grand opening. Mayor Daniel Lurie was in attendance, and the center will serve kids up to 5 years old. Her son says it's a fitting way to recognize his mother.
We know that my father didn't do this work by himself, that my mother was there to decide every step of the way, and at times she was out in front of him. She's one of the unsung heroes of the farm worker movement, and I think it's important that we recognize all of those people that made tremendous sacrifices and whose contributions are mainly unknown to folks.
The center is at Valencia and 23rd. Now we'll take a live look at Oakland, where several candidates are each making their case to be the next mayor. Don Lynn was at today's forum. He heard from the candidates firsthand and the issues that they want to tackle.
Roughly 100 to 150 people attended Saturday's candidate forum at Allen Temple Baptist Church in East Oakland. 8 candidates, 1 seat.
To find out what their policies are.
While some voters have an idea on whom they like, others, like Cecilia Cunningham, kept an open mind.
Right now, I'm really undecided.
But she is certain the next mayor must fix public safety and homelessness.
It's too dangerous out there, period, at night. Too much going on.
Many voters at the forum believe the race is between former Congresswoman Barbara Lee and former Oakland Councilman Lauren Taylor.
Right now what Oakland needs is fresh energy, a perspective of someone who's been on the ground in community, solving our toughest problems, bringing real results. That's what I've been up to.
Taylor says he will not be influenced by special interests and will make independent decisions good for the city. Lee highlights her decades of public service and vows to bring people together to turn Oakland around.
I want to use my leverage and my experience and the ability to bring people together, not just to talk, but to solve the problems of Oakland.
For some voters, the 2.5-hour forum provided greater clarity on the candidates' positions, but they say they would continue to research before casting their votes.
I just want Oakland to be the amazing city that I grew up in. You know, like I was always very proud to be a part of Oakland, and I think that I really hope that this next mayor is someone who can help reignite that passion.
Mrs. Cunningham says 4 candidates impressed her, but she's not ready to name them or make a decision yet.
We are going through a crisis, but I feel that we will overcome.
The special election will be held on April 15th, and Oakland voters will receive the ballots in the mail roughly 10 days from now.
Next month's special election comes after the recall of Mayor Sheng Tao, with the former mayor now facing federal bribery charges. Other top stories we're following tonight. Crews put out a house fire in San Francisco's Richmond district. Happened on 22nd Avenue near Golden Gate Park early this morning. Fire crews say that the home had hoarder conditions present, but there were no injuries reported. Santa Rosa crews put out a fire. This is actually a time lapse. You're about to see. Put out a fire at an apartment complex. Time lapse video of when the fire first broke out at 11 o'clock this morning. Happened on Beaver Street and College Avenue. Fire crews say the carport caught on fire. They were able to contain the flames, but they don't know what caused the flames to break out to begin with. So they're investigating. Now, you know, a day like today, you think, how could weather possibly have any headline attached to it?
I know.
But, yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful day.
Yes.
No complaints.
That's why we're doing this now, because it's totally different middle of the week. We're going to get back into the storm track, and we want to make sure people are ready for this. Yeah. You look out those windows, though, that's what Brian's talking about. There's nothing to be seen there. However, take a look down here. High-resolution satellite today shows you the storm track sitting right off the coast. It's going to take a little bit. You got nothing but blue sky coming your way for the next 2 days. That's why we're going to look at the big monitor up here and watch the forecast imagery on here. I'm going to skip all the way ahead to Wednesday, and you're going to see that next storm arrive right there. There's going to be widespread rain pretty much throughout Wednesday, morning into the afternoon and evening. And then Thursday, we'll get some leftover scattered showers that'll still be around to go along with that. So isolated hit and miss showers on Thursday, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. And then as fast as that system clears out on Thursday, we head into Friday, and the next system comes in right on its heels, and that one looks like it could have better rain with it. If we played that all the way through, I could show you a third system which could be coming our way by the end of next weekend, but that's going a little too far out at this point. We want to give that one a little more time to play out in the forecast models. When we get back together in the complete forecast, we're going to try and put some numbers on this. We're not worried about flooding from these, but these are going to be widespread rain, and they're going to have an impact starting midweek. I'll see you with that in a few minutes. Brian, back to you.
Alrighty, thank you, Darren. You might want to avert your eyes from the screen because coyotes in Mendocino are snacking on something new. Why scientists say they are changing up their diet, and wait till you hear what it is. Plus, Oaklanders try to prove they are a diamond in the rough with Ballers tryouts in full swing. That's coming up. We'll see you in a minute. You know, Woody Allen once said that nature is just one big restaurant. And coyotes in Northern California kind of have proven the point. They've recently acquired a taste for harbor seals. Researchers, for the first time, captured coyotes hunting harbor seals in Mendocino County. And Kenny Choi explains the sudden change in diet.
Researchers placed motion and heat-triggered trail cameras to capture what they had predicted based on observations for years, that coyotes are hunting harbor seal pups in California.
That coyotes are really curious and adaptable, and they'll often explore, the potential for new food sources on their own just due to that pure curiosity and adaptability.
Frankie Garrity and Sarah Grimes began working together after Grimes began noticing more of a pattern along the Northern California coastline, working for the Noyo Center for Marine Science.
There were these deceased little pups right around pupping time, so got really curious. It's just that curiosity, like what's going on.
That first encounter was back in 2015. Scientists say their brains have high nutritional value, which is why they're going after the skulls.
It wasn't super well known how important seals can be as a food source for coyotes, even though we know that seals are really big and super nutrient rich.
Between 2016 and 2024, researchers documented 59 of these predation events, mostly recorded at McKercher State Park in Mendocino County and 2 other rookery sites where seals give birth.
We're seeing this change as we are seeing things change rapidly around us all the time at an accelerated pace. This is kind of a key moment to be observing this relationship.
Grimes and Garrity acknowledge videos documenting coyotes dragging harbor seal pups into dune vegetation, opening carcasses through the head and neck region, feeding and removing skulls may be difficult for some to watch and accept.
So we're also somewhat resistant to portrayals of coyotes that demonize them for doing something that they must do to survive, which is to eat and to hunt.
It's nature adapting to its surroundings and what's available.
Well, kind of happier news from the Wild Kingdom. Further south, 2 bald eagles from Big Bear have welcomed a 3rd chick to their nest. Oh, so cute. The final egg hatched out early this morning. It's video of all 3 chicks getting fed earlier today. Jackie and Shadow, that's the name, of course you know Jackie and Shadow. Their first chick hatched late Monday night, and the second one on Tuesday morning. The 2 bald eagles have been an internet sensation since they became mates back in 2018. So 2 eagles have birdied big time, which would be great if I were tossing to sports right now, but instead,
no,
Darren, you're talking
just
about
tossing
that.
to me.
Yeah, we're getting. What am I standing on?
You are standing on the continental United States. You're down around Louisiana. Got a little bit of a system moving down there, and you kind of see, I think those are the lights of Houston in between us. What we really want to see is the daylight side of that day-night divider. Take a look out here with me, because this is where we are. Had a beautiful day. Don't need the weatherman to tell you that. I mean, this is what it looks like over us right now. That's Exhibit A. Can we get a peek at Exhibit B? As if anybody didn't already know what a spectacular weekend we're having. The good news is it is staying like that. It's going to stay like that on Monday. It's going to be like that on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, the systems are getting here. And we wanted to make sure that we give you a heads up on this now, because the system's coming our way as we get into Wednesday. It's the first one of what could be several. So if we've got the clear skies we're looking at, you could see it out here on our virtual map. That's the clear spot. Right here is the next storm. This one originally looked like it was going to bring us a little bit of rain on Monday. But watch what this is going to do. like a little curveball. Area of low pressure develops here, cutoff low, spins itself up into a tizzy and goes to the south and totally dodges us. So you may notice a few clouds on Monday. That's it. That is the system for Wednesday, and that's the one that has much better aim. So this is the one we looked at the top of the newscast. Widespread rain throughout the day on Wednesday, and you should think of this as just the first in what could be a series of rainmakers as we approach the middle of March. So there's your Wednesday widespread rain. We get into Thursday, and it's isolated on again, off again, hit and miss showers, maybe an occasional thunderstorm. It's going to be colder. It's going to be a bit windy on Thursday. I'll show you the winds in a second in this visit if there's time. If not, we'll get to it in the next visit because that is part of the story. But as soon as the Thursday system clears out, followed up right away by system number 2. This one could be as rainy, if not maybe a little wetter on Friday. So more rain for Friday. And just because we can do it, although it's probably not the best idea at this point to look at a forecast like this all the way out to next Sunday, that Sunday right there is a week from tomorrow. It's too far to look at a forecast like that and go, well, here comes another one. But it's worth looking at it now at this point because the forecast models are getting kind of bullish on this idea. So potentially that could be next down the road for us. But let's just focus on that Wednesday system first. You see what the Monday system does as the rain goes down there. Here comes the Wednesday rain to fill in the donut hole. We get about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Let's put some numbers on that just for the Bay, and let's just look at Wednesday. So it pretty much ranges about 1.5 inches. We can handle that from the one system. This is Wednesday and Thursday, both days combined. There's another one coming in on Friday. Remember, we've got a higher degree of confidence in the Friday system, so we'll get more rain there. And then as we get towards Sunday of next week, there could be another one. I want to just take a moment now and show you what the wind could look like for us as we get towards that system. We're going to look at Wednesday. So we get a wide view out here out in the Pacific if we can. You're going to see the cold front develop right about here where I'm standing. Look at the line. This is Wednesday into the afternoon and evening. So what you get in this situation is all the wind out here rushing up to meet this cold front. You're going to feel that, probably a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust as we get into Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Let's get a wide view on the Bay, even down to the Santa Clara Valley. Let's see if we can fit the Tri-Valley in. These are your wind speeds. So this is manageable. It's a noticeably windy day. We'll probably get a wind advisory on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, those winds are going to be more a factor when it comes to a wind chill. It's going to feel a little bit colder. Look at the daytime highs back here. You'll be back down into the mid-50s. As warm as you're getting, you will have just gotten used to mid-60s like today. Sunny and mid-60s for the next 3 days. And then when that system comes in, it's going to get cooler.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. In Ukraine, at least 20 people were killed by Russian airstrikes overnight. Russia has continued heavy aerial attacks after the U.S. stopped sharing satellite images with Ukraine. Meanwhile, President Trump is now threatening sanctions and tariffs against Russia until a peace deal is reached in that war.
In terms of getting a final settlement, it may be easier dealing with Russia, which is surprising because they have all the cards.
In D.C., people gathered demanding the Trump administration not abandon Ukraine. They unfurled the world's largest Ukrainian flag, weighed 330 pounds. As for the people living in Ukraine, things remain uncertain. One Novato man has seen some of it firsthand. Christian Thwaites retired from the investment banking business last year. Since then, he has been helping out overseas, driving a truck full of supplies right into the war-torn country. Our weekend co-anchor, Andrea Nakano, has his story.
So it was very nice to get that.
Christian Thwaites has been watching the war unfold in Ukraine since 2022. For years, he's thought about how he can help the people of the Eastern European country.
Sending money is one thing, but maybe there are other skills that I could bring to the table and see the country and get a better understanding of it.
So he reached out to a volunteer group in his home country of England called Driving Ukraine. Within weeks, he was driving this blue truck full of supplies across Europe into Western Ukraine. A 3-day journey driving roughly 14 hours a day.
Countries I've read about, history I've read about, but actually being there was I wasn't nervous about anything happening, but it was just definitely a little, it's outside my comfort zone.
The trucks and ambulances that his convoy transported were packed with anything from medical supplies to children's books.
And they were just sort of, waved us in, and clapped, and you just felt, these people are so grateful and so nice.
On his journey, the memories that stick with Thwaites the most are the conversations he had with Ukrainians. Alex owned a bar near the Russian border, but he has been fighting on the front lines since the war started. Thwaites had 2 sons serve in Afghanistan and worries about how the war will impact people like Alex.
I just asked this guy, I said, are you okay? Because, it's like seeing a lot of bad stuff. And he said, yeah, I'm fine. I don't have PTSD. But I thought, you don't now, but, I just hope that it doesn't happen to him, one day.
Thwaites is already planning his next trip to be part of another convoy later in the spring. He's hopeful that one day there will be peace in the region. Until then, he wants to do what he can to help Ukrainians live day-to-day life as normal as possible.
It just really struck me as a place where they're standing up for something which, is very precious these days. Freedom and independence, and not wanting to be invaded by a next door neighbor country, and really, being incredibly sort of brave.
And in other news tonight, House Republicans unveiled a spending bill aimed at heading off a federal government shutdown. Legislation would provide a slight boost to defense programs, but cut non-defense spending below last year's budget. That is facing opposition from Democrats. The measure would keep the government funded through September, and they're expected to do a floor vote on that on Tuesday. And staying in Washington, it was back and forth again on tariffs, as Trump paused the program, now delayed for at least another month. Still, Wall Street posted its worst week of the year. And here in the Bay Area, farmers already are bracing for the effects. Our Lauren Tom spoke with some who say they actually are eating the costs to keep local produce accessible.
We got mandarins, grapefruits, oranges, pretty much a little bit of everything. And I feel like come stone fruit season, grape season, that's when we're gonna feel it.
At the heart of the city farmers market, prices have to stay low. It services a neighborhood with limited access to affordable fresh produce, especially for low-income families. But with supply costs soaring, farmers like Joel Aguayo are stuck in the middle.
I feel like once the prices go up, they're never gonna come back down. And it's not like we can jump the price on produce because then the people won't be able to afford it. You know what I mean? It's kind of messed up for them. We're eating the cost. The farmers are eating the cost.
At Castellanos Farm, it's planting season, but Joel says tariffs and supply chain disruptions have already driven materials costs up by at least 30% for essentials like drip tape and metal stakes that are often imported from China, Canada, and Mexico, which have been targets of a trade war.
We're not complaining, we're just talking about it. We have to buy it. There's no other way around it.
For now, he says he's keeping their prices low and eating the cost with hopes the market will stabilize. But for other vendors like Oriel Castillo, they have no choice but to hike up their prices.
Maybe you can see in my table, the prices is very, very low. I think I'm the only one, but I need to go up now. We need to do that. But because even at home, we got nervous. We are nervous right now. Everyone, everybody.
It's an impossible choice in an uncertain market. Professor of Agriculture Economics Dan Sumner of UC Davis says it's still too early to tell what the true impact to local farmers and farmers markets will be.
The worst thing right now is the uncertainty of it. And it's certainly too early to say prices have gone up because of the tariffs. What we do know, and there's no debate about this among economists, putting on tariffs between integrated economies raises the cost for consumers and or producers, and the economy as a whole loses.
For Joel, he doesn't have the time to worry about the politics of it all.
We're too busy working at the farm and working at the farmers market to even know what's going on in politics. We don't know. Hopefully it turns out for the best. Hopefully the economy, the customers have more money in the long run, and we're able to jump the price up a little bit. Even like 50 cents helps out a lot.
And if costs keep climbing, farmers say it's not just their profits at risk, but affordable produce for all.
Still ahead at 6, a legal battle is brewing as the Bay Area seeks cuts to college sports how student athletes are reacting. Beautiful night out there on this Saturday night at Sonoma State University. Athletes and coaches now suing the school over its decision to cut all of its sports programs. Now another Bay Area school eliminating some sports teams to counter a budget crisis. San Francisco State University announcing it'll cut 3 of its 13 athletic teams to save money. And one of those on the chopping block is the baseball team, with several parents upset over that decision.
It's kind of a disgrace. Very disappointed in the school and mismanagement of how they're dealing with their money.
My perspective is sports are important at the university level, so I think it hurts the image and the student body as far as having a baseball team, having sports.
Those parents we talked to told us that their kids are hoping to transfer to another school to keep playing, and Kelsey Thorud has their story.
Didn't really think the baseball program was going to get cut, and there was really no warning.
In the middle of their season, with 4 home games scheduled this weekend, San Francisco State's baseball team found out Thursday their program will cease to exist at the end of this school year.
Caught us all off guard. We kind of had an idea going in, but we knew that there was some financial problems at the school. But yeah, it was tough news for everybody.
Derek LaFerrier plays catcher for the Gators. He says the team found out their sport was getting axed at the same time everyone else did, when the university's president published a statement announcing the cuts.
It tugged on the heartstrings a lot because we wanted to fight for this program. We wanted to kind of see if we can keep it going, fundraise, do something to help the team.
In that statement, President Lynn Mahoney says the cuts are necessary to align the university's spending with budget realities, highlighting the state's proposal of nearly an 8% reduction to the CSU budget. In addition to the baseball team, women's indoor track and field and men's soccer will also be cut. Tony Schifano is the head coach of SF State's baseball team. He's been on the job for 10 years and helped improve the team from a mediocre squad to one that went to the NCAA Division II regionals last year.
It was building the program from the ground one and from the ground level, and here we are. You know, last year we were really close. We have a wonderful team this year. We received votes in the top 25 in the country this week.
Tony says the end of this program is a huge blow, but one he's telling his players is something they'll all get through together.
There's no doubt in my mind they'll get through this. You know, I tell them every day, I said, there's bad things going to happen in your life, and you're going to have to find a way to overcome it. And here's one early in your life that's thrown at you.
Tony says he plans to work with every eligible player on his team to help them transfer to another program next year if they so choose. For Derek, though, that's not an option. This is his senior year. His goal now, to get his team as far into the postseason as possible, hopefully all the way to the College World Series.
Knowing that this is the last year the Gators baseball team is going to be around, so use it as fuel, try and make the best of the season, and finish on top for the program.
Gators on 3. 1, 2, 3, Gators!
And coming up, one-of-a-kind prom dresses at a serious discount. How one pop-up in San Francisco is helping students dress to impress. And speaking of impressive, here's Darren.
Coming up in this forecast, Brian, we got some rain coming this week. We've got some wind coming as we're going to have a cold front right off of the Bay Area. And there's snow. I haven't talked about that yet. We'll look at the snow in 2 chapters. First, within reason, and then how much might actually fall in the next 10 days in the Sierra just for fun, not on a guarantee? We'll look at that coming up. Okay, we know that we've got a beautiful weekend coming our way, and then the storm track is coming back in the middle of the week. We looked at that in the last visit. We'll do it again, talk to you about rain and timing. But I just wanted to take the start of this visit, in addition to showing you today's high-resolution satellite over us today, is to take a look at the forecast for snow. So what you're looking at there is the forecast going all the way through March 18th. If you can read in the upper right-hand corner there, this is pretty much going out a week and a half. You shouldn't do that in a snow forecast. We cannot go to the bank on those numbers. Almost 100 inches of snow is by no means a guaranteed forecast. But it's interesting that the forecast models are starting to at least suggest the idea. Let's do this a different way. We'll come in for a close-up look. Here's the section of the Sierra that many of us would care most about. That's I-80, Highway 50. There's the Tahoe Basin. That is the Wednesday storm. And this we can pretty much put as close to a lock on as you can when you're 4 days out. There is a high degree of confidence this is coming, and that's almost 4 feet. So from the Wednesday through Thursday storm, and with some snow coming in on Friday, so this is actually 2 systems, we could be looking at perhaps 4 feet of snow on here. And when you take a look down, look at Highway 50, you get down to around places like Pollock Pines, which sits at 4,000 feet, could have about a foot of snow there. This is good. It's not only a lot of snow where we need it for ski resorts, yes, but also for water. This is where we store the majority of the water that we're going to rely on as we go through the dry summer and into autumn. So it's the water content that makes this so great, and how low down the mountain it's getting, because so many storms in years past have come in relatively warm. And we miss out on putting snow down to the midsection of the mountains where we need it also to buffet fire season. So these are great storms. We needed to see this in March. We're falling below average. So this will get us back up to it. And then just for fun, if we go beyond that in the long-range forecast, there's reason to believe there could be more coming. That's for another day. All right, let's get into the forecast in terms of what else might be coming. If you can see what we have today, clear sky now. I know it's dark behind me, but clear skies all day. Beautiful image of us there looking at clear skies. Maybe a bit of clouds sitting out there off the coast. Let's bring in the forecast imagery on that. So you can see that band of clouds we were just looking at. Let's go through the next couple of opportunities for rain here, a replay on what we did a little while ago. The first one on Monday is going to miss us, so we're going to let that system go by, and it will quickly be replaced by the one out there, which is going to get us. So Monday, you get a few clouds from a near miss, and then the Wednesday system comes in, and that one's not messing around. Widespread rain moves over the entire bay throughout the day on Wednesday. There's Wednesday midday, and then Wednesday evening, the intensity picks up a little bit. And then as we get into Thursday, it'll still be isolated, scattered, on again, off again, hit and miss showers. Maybe an occasional thunderstorm mixed in. And it'll be cool and breezy on Thursday as well. So it's a 2-day event, but most of the rain's coming Wednesday. And then you don't get much time to catch your breath, because on Friday, here comes that next system. That one comes in with perhaps just as much, if not more, rain than what we will have gotten from the Wednesday and Thursday system. And then here's where we start pushing things a bit. This is where the Sunday system comes in, but again, we're going a little too far, because that Sunday right there is next Sunday. So let's not, it's there in the models. We're not putting that one in the books just yet. Rainfall totals on the big picture. Monday system passes us, we're left in a donut hole, and then Wednesday and Thursday makes up for it in a meaningful way. Not the kind of rain here where we're worried about flooding from this. 1.5 inches we can handle on the landscape right now. But it's more rain than you've had from any of the systems over like the last 3 weeks, maybe a little longer. So it's a good little rain system for us. We're going to be back in action again. And then more rain perhaps comes in. And again, we won't go too far down the road on that just yet, just like we won't with all of that snow in the Sierra. Let's give these a little time to play out. Here's what it looks like in the 7-day forecast. You have a beautiful second half of your weekend. It's going to be just as nice as today. Monday will be just as nice, but a few high clouds. Tuesday's also pretty good. Then we start with that series of storms. We will have much more on this as we get closer to it. All right, Brian, back to you.
All righty, thank you, Darren. You may not realize this, but prom season is around the corner for a lot of high school students across the Bay Area. A traveling pop-up is making sure that everybody has a dress for the big dance. Prom Expo Unlimited set up shop in San Francisco today. It features more than 50 affordable, one-of-a-kind dresses. And we talked to a Bay Area designer who has one of her dresses for sale at the pop-up.
A lot of people that can afford prom dresses, out here in the Bay Area, they get discouraged. They get discouraged and don't want to go to school because they can't afford certain things like other students. So it's just important for me to make sure that everybody is involved, that it's inclusive and that everybody gets a prom dress.
By the way, the pop-up also does include several suits. I wonder if do kids wear suits to the prom? Do they? Okay, Carla says yes, our ACE director, and she would know. Alterations will be available for all dresses purchased. And coming up, do they wear tuxedos? Okay. Up next, nice that some things never change. Up next, why it might be time to make daylight saving time a thing of the past, according to some people. We'll see. Well, celebrating service and 40 years of excellence, the U.S. Postal Service is highlighting 2 everyday people in San Leandro for their dedication. Letter carriers Celia Yasso and Mario Sandoval have each worked with the USPS for 40 years. The agency threw a party for them and honored the 2 with special 40-year pins on Friday. One of the carriers told us that she's actually excited to retire.
I have a grandson, so he's a 2-year-old, and I'm going to spend some time with him and go hiking, biking. Hopefully I can go back to soccer.
Sounds like a good plan. She said that she might visit some of her favorite customers after turning in her mail keys. Good for them. You realize it's that time of year again when clocks spring ahead and we will lose an hour of sleep overnight. CBS's Tanya Bacchus has a look at why some health experts want to put an end to daylight savings.
Clocks move forward this Sunday for daylight saving time, and just like clockwork, the debate over seasonal time changes springs into action.
Do you usually kind of look forward to when we have to spring forward, or
honestly have to Google every time whether that's the one that I lose sleep on or gain sleep on, so I'm not sure if I should dread this one.
Why bother doing it? Does it really help anything? Does it really save us any daylight? I don't see the need for it anymore.
Research has shown the ritual of changing the clocks in spring and fall can impact productivity and our mental and physical health.
Honestly, even sleeping in an hour, I get groggy, and then losing the hour, I just get evil.
It's why the American Academy of Sleep Medicine wants to eliminate seasonal time changes.
It's harder to go to bed when it's light out, so that can make it harder to fall asleep, but yet our responsibilities are the same in terms of waking up for school, waking up for work.
Dr. Anita Shelgakar is president of the Academy, which recommends moving to year-round permanent standard time.
In permanent standard time, our internal body clock is best aligned with the sun and external light from the sun. It's what's best for our overall health and well-being.
Before taking office, President Trump posted his support for ending daylight saving time, saying it is inconvenient and very costly to our nation.
Personally, I think one and done. I think the adjustment, it's definitely worse when you're losing your time.
To help adjust, Dr. Shelgakar says expose yourself to bright light right away in the morning, maintain a consistent sleep and wake schedule, and minimize caffeine later in the day.
Okay, good advice. And we appreciate your watching. See you back here at 11. Andrea, hopefully you'll be back here tomorrow night. We'll see. Until 11 o'clock tonight, the news continues streaming on CBS News Bay Area. For now, good night. We'll see you.